Welcome, dear strangers online, to the Lumiose City catching contest. Just like in Johto's world-famous bug catching contest, we are putting 4 of your favorite Pokemon content creators, Kotatsu.
Yo, I'm Kotatsu and Unova, and this is my partner Pokemon, Miho. We're in it to win it.
AbsolBlogsPokémon, also known as Matt.
I'm not here to make friends. Actually, I am. I just always wanted to say that.
PartyArlie.
Hello, my name is Arlie or PartyArlie, and I make videos about Nintendo nostalgia, and I am super happy to be here.
And cecilily.
Hi, I'm cecilily. I do videos where I think too much about Pokemon, and I do love the Johto region. How did you know that?
To compete across alleys, rooftops, and wild areas to discover who is Lumiose's best Pokémon Catcher. I am your host, Roberto Juan del Campo Perencejo Fulano de Tal. That is the pun to my username because you may simply call me RobbyForShort. And I will be awarding points based on creativity, originality, and accuracy to my devilish prompts in the 3 rounds of our catching contest.
Oh, shiny!
Ladies first, and in alphabetical order, Arlie, how are you today? Are you feeling confident? What is your strategy for today's game?
I'm feeling good. I don't know about confident, but I'm feeling good. My strategy is to just hopefully not get lost. Look at that top mini map and hope for the best.
That sounds like a sound strategy, and you know, I relate to that because I am directionally challenged.
Me too.
Now, cecilily, welcome. How does it feel to let a seasoned game show host, such as myself, take control of your channel for today's video?
Robbie, I trust you. Go ahead, put on a show, and as long as we're all having fun, that's what we're here for, right?
Of course. Visiting us all the way from the Unova region, Kotatsu. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
I know that you and Matt are quite close. Are you excited to be better than Matt at something?
I wouldn't say I'm excited at it because, I mean, it happens pretty frequently, but I'm excited for it to happen again today.
I mean, you heard it here first. Last but certainly not least, Matt, as the resident straight man of this group, how does it feel to finally be the minority?
It feels incredible, honestly. It's true allyship right here.
Wonderful, wonderful. We are so excited to get this game started because for your first prompt, I would like you to find a Pokemon that would be the best front for a money laundering business.
Oh my god. Oh gosh.
Your time
Great.
starts in 3, 2, 1, go. The rules of this catching contest are simple. Our contestants have 5 minutes to run across Lumiose without fast traveling and catch a Pokemon that best answers the prompt. They will be awarded 1 out of 3 points based on creativity, originality, and accuracy. An alpha or a shiny Pokemon will award them an extra point, and after 3 rounds, they will put their catches into a ZA Battle Club match to earn a final point before we crown our winner. I may change the rules to spice up the game a little. I just love producing television.
Oh, why is Meowth not in this game?
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Oh, wait, I have an idea.
Oh, I have an idea.
I have an Alpha Totodile on my screen. I just like to say that.
Alpha Miho? Miho, what do you think about this? I think she's hyped.
Oh no, night fell and I'm losing precious 15 seconds of gameplay.
Oh my god,
no.
did I go to the wrong spot? I went to the wrong spot.
I'm trying a couple rolls to see if I can get this as an alpha, but
Oh, good lord.
it's not looking good.
Oh my god, the place I need to go is across the map.
Run like the wind.
1 minute and 50 seconds.
Oh my
Are you
goodness.
actually so serious
Okay.
right now?
No more rerolling for an alpha. I'm just gonna go in.
1 minute? Oh no. Okay, change of plans. Shoot.
Get in the ball, get in the ball. Get in the ball, get in the ball.
Okay,
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
okay.
Oh,
I
no.
have caught one as backup if I can't make
Yeah,
it
I
in a
also
minute.
have a backup.
Oh, it's also gone. I'm so cooked. Backup plan. Dawn is approaching.
Uh-oh.
Wait, from the Sinnoh region?
She's gonna show me how it's done, because she's got real snowy routes over there.
Oh, you're going for a nice type Pokemon then.
Maybe. I don't know. There are not ice types here.
15 seconds.
15! Oh my god. You know what? It's fine.
Get in the ball, get in the ball.
5,
Okay, I got one.
3, 2, 1. Put down your controllers because your time is up. Now, players, if you could reconvene at Centrico Plaza, we will award points for you right there.
Like trying to cook the craziest plot right now in my mind. I need my D&D improv skills to like all come into play right now.
If it makes you feel better, I have none of that.
All right, with all of our players reconvened at Centrico Plaza, they are ready to show and tell. We are going to start with Kotatsu.
Okay.
If you want to showcase for me what you have chosen for us today.
I have chosen the beautiful, the illustrious Stacy the Autono. And you guys might not know this, but Stacy, much like Stacy's mom, she's got it going on. And by it, I mean a money laundering scheme. She's newly divorced. She has lost her husband's funds, so she needs to come up with a side hustle. And this side hustle involves money laundering. She has recently met other Pokemon who can help her in this, and she has been decided as the front for the scheme because she is very unassuming. She's very pretty. So no one would be able to see it coming that she is in fact laundering money.
And look at her. She is just falling to the ground. She cannot stay still. She's tired.
It's because she's been up all night.
That is a working woman.
Yes, exactly.
You said money laundering business, but what kind of front do they have to hide their money laundering?
A hairdresser. She
Oh,
runs
she's
a hair salon.
Hairdresser.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
She's got the
Love
curls.
that.
She does,
does.
exactly. Yes.
Now, is Stacy an alpha?
No, she's a Sigma. Sorry.
All right. So, Kotatsu, that is a point for creativity. That is a
Thank
point
you.
for originality, and that is a point for an accuracy to my prompt. Thank you so much. You have been awarded with 3 points for this prompt today.
Yay! Thank you, Bobby.
Yippee!
Of course. I'm so generous, aren't I? I
You
love giving
are.
away points. Now, your arch nemesis, Matt.
Today, I've got something great for you here. The people of Lumiose are so nostalgic about the old Go-Go taxi service that this Go-Go right here, named Taxi, ignore the quotation marks, is a former Go-Go taxi service member. Ignore the fact that it was born within the past years after the service was discontinued. And the people of Lumiose City can help with just a 500 Pokédollar donation, contribute to the lives of these laid-off taxi workers, like this Go-Go right here. 100% of the profits go towards the owner of the taxi, me, and this amazing money laundering scheme.
I love that so much. And you know, that is actually very current with Lumiose City as well, because there is a taxi service. You see all of the cars have taken over for Go-Go.
And there's the Eternal Z right there.
Oh my god, the arch enemy of capitalism, absolutely.
Right here.
I am going to award you 3 points as well. And you know what? I
Go.
loved your prompt so much. I'm going to give you a half point as well. Just as a Robbie half
Oh my
point
gosh.
for the drama.
Thank you so
know?
much.
Moving on to the owner of this lovely channel, cecilily.
So, I just walked into a park and I caught my friend Malamar.
Ooh.
Wonderful.
My friend Malamar would never run a money laundering scheme. What are you talking about? That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you would even suggest something like that. My friend Malamar? She would never be involved in any such schemes or machinations or anything of like that. She's a upstanding citizen.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me think that her machinations are an enigma. I don't feel like this is quite the most original setup, so I will take a point for that. But I will give a point for accuracy to the prompt and, you know, some creativity as well. We'll give you 2 points, Cecily. I fear that Malamar has brainwashed you a little too much.
My friend Malamar would never do that.
Now, for our final showcase, Miss Arlie,
Oh,
if you
boy.
could showcase for us what you have brought today.
I feel like I forgot all that I was gonna say after watching everybody else's. Okay, so this is my lovely little friend, Boss Baby, the Metatite. She is a baby. She is wearing a diaper. She's a child. And I feel like the last thing you would ever expect, a child running a money laundering scheme? What is wrong with you? How could you ever assume that from Boss Baby here? That's just like messed up of you. Boss Baby runs the daycare. Nothing suspicious going on at this daycare. Absolutely nothing going on. The daycare, you know, it's still setting up. It's still getting there, you know, not seeing a lot of business. And is doing a really, really great job despite being a baby. And I'm just really proud of Boss Baby and his diaper and his work.
This daycare is looking a little suspicious.
No! Boss Baby is just sleeping. There he goes.
Is Boss Baby broke?
No.
Is Boss Baby not a boss?
No, guys, Boss Baby has so much money.
Have you ever seen Boss Baby?
I have actually never seen Boss Baby.
I have never seen Boss Baby.
I have
Me
never
either.
seen it.
Am I the only one who's seen this? This is the first time that I've been the only person who's seen a movie. I've seen
That's
Boss
iconic.
Baby.
What?
Please,
I watched
Matt.
it at 2 a.m. while shiny hunting one night.
I think we're getting a little too distracted. So, Arlie, I think I'm going to award you 2 points as well. I'm not quite convinced about the accuracy of this prompt. How is that daycare funneling in money for the money laundering business? I'm not quite sure, but I do love the originality and creativity of your prompt, of your take, if you will.
This is my first time seeing how Go-Go prances in this game. It's so great.
All right, are we ready for our second prompt?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right, for your second prompt, this will be a little more tame. I want you to find a Pokemon that would be the best, most interesting to see in a nature documentary narrated by Meowth from Team Rocket.
What?
Ooh,
That
I
is
love
a
Oh,
this
God.
one.
Robbie.
Shout out to my fiance Zan because he said, what about nature documentary narrated by David Attenborough? And I said, let's make it even more interesting and narrated by Meowth by Team Rocket with his strange Jersey accent. You have 5 minutes. In fact, you know what? I think that everybody struggled so hard to find a Pokemon. I'm gonna give you 8 minutes.
The generosity
Really
is
generous.
boundless.
Absolutely. 8 minutes in 3, 2, 1. Go, start, go grab your Pokemons, run, away from here,
going.
away from Central Plaza, go, please.
I'm running, I'm top
Find me
speed
a
right now.
Pokemon now.
Prepare for trouble and make it
Miho,
double.
run! You know, Miho's gonna run with me, even though she's slower than me.
I know I got Boss Baby on the scene here.
I am probably not within walking distance of 5. It's like on the opposite side.
Well, I'm within walking distance of ya mama.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
It's over.
You are
Kotatsu
really
won.
off.
The slaughter that is occurring in Wild Zone 15.
Oh yeah. Just another day in the life. I would hate to be the person who has to work at this cafe right here.
Oh,
She
God,
is
yeah.
honestly a trooper. That is the true boss babe right there. No,
That's
actually,
the Waffle
no.
House worker of Lumiose City right there.
All right, so the Waffle House Index is a true marvel of our capitalistic society here in the United States, where if a Waffle House is closed, you know that the natural disaster that is about to hit that state is really bad.
Ooh. Okay, yes, I've heard that story before, actually. Yes. That is crazy, actually.
I'm putting all my eggs in one basket.
I've got one available here, but I'm gonna run 500 meters or units to see if I can get an alpha.
Matt really wanting that point.
I need the point more.
I
My
need the point
honor is
more.
on the line. Miho's honor
Yeah, I got
is
a
on the
point.
line.
I've got half a point over you right now.
This cannot be happening to me.
That makes all the difference.
Kotatsu really going in for a particular strategy that I won't mention for the benefit of her, not revealing it to the rest of the players, but I admire the hustle.
Thank you, Robbie. I play to win, okay? So I'm gonna try
Absolutely.
everything I can.
As you should. I also
Even if
play
it
to
means
win.
stooping below my normal level of pride. I'm a winner. WLW.
Okay, I made it to the alpha.
Damn it. How much time do we got left, Robbie?
Yes.
3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay, we got time.
Okay. It just takes one encounter.
I got my one encounter.
Now, Arlie, if you could let us in a little bit on what your strategy is for this prompt.
My strategy is think about nature. And that's what I'm thinking about, is thinking about nature. And I'm also trying to see if my nature can be shiny. And I am resetting over and over.
1 minute, 15 seconds.
1 minute. Let me know when there's approximately 20 seconds left.
I'm gonna die. I died. No, I didn't die. Wait.
Oh,
Wait,
we're so back.
No, I am dead. I am officially dead because nature is
so
also
not
very
back.
dangerous.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put up your controllers. Your time is up.
So, are you doing anything later, Nurse Joy?
Alright, Arlie, it seems that you're ready with your Pokemon. If you could showcase, if you could, I think it would be really helpful if you did it in a nature documentary style voice, and you told us what Mawile would be doing in the wild.
Okay.
Here we got Mawile. It uses its docile-looking face to lure foes into complacency, then bites with its huge, relentless jaws.
So Meowth is Australian, if you didn't know that, and he actually, I just found that out, and he actually uses his New Jersey accent for the show. So that was a little clip I got of Meowth to narrate for us all what Mawile, what that would look like in a nature documentary. Meowth wanted me to choose Mawile because Mawile is, it looks like a Venus flytrap. I named it Audrey too, as a little. Any Little Shop of Horror fans in the chat.
Yes.
But yeah, Mawile is one with nature, but is very, very modern with nature. And one of Meowth's favorite Pokemon, because Mawile also starts with an M.
I love that so much. And Audrey, too, also just a little bit of a reference to the 2 mouths that she gets during Mega Evolution.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are in the same wavelength right now. So, Arlie, I think that you will be very happy to learn that you have earned 3 points for this prompt. I love it's very original. Is Mawile an alpha, perchance?
Oh, she is. Yeah, sorry. She is an alpha.
Wonderful!
Oh,
You know what that
I
awards
forgot to
you?
mention. Sorry.
A lovely additional point.
Let's go.
Congratulations on the
She's a
additional
big
point,
girl.
Arlie. Now, moving on to Cecilily, who is so incredibly excited to showcase for us.
So, Robbie, I have a question for you. What do people like to watch nature documentaries the most about?
Well, they love...
Violence. That's what they are looking for. Violence
Absolutely.
in the Animal Kingdom.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally said that.
And the internet has been very particular about a certain area in this game, which is Wild Area 17, right? And who better than Meowth to go into the inner workings of this crazy place of wildlife that is Wild Area 17? And why is this alpha male Pyroar in the middle of other 5 Pyroars? Why is it there? Why is it the only guy in the room? We don't know, but Meowth's gonna tell us. So this is Lino, the alpha Pyroar.
I love the very classic trope of the lion being this symbol of power and pride in, of course, Meowth is also a feline Pokemon, so I love this so much. I am going to award Ceci with 3 points as well.
Thank you, Robbie.
And speaking of drama, we have to go to Kotatsu.
Me?
Yes,
Little
of course.
Kotatsu. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Picture yourself. It's a Saturday night. You don't know what you want to watch on TV, but you turn it on anyway to see by channel surfing, and you come across Meowth's beautiful voice, and you're instantly enraptured. What is he talking about? A nature documentary. About what? Only the most popular Pokemon ever, Pikachu. And think about the drama this could provide. Meowth talking about nature, and then all of a sudden he realizes, because for some reason he's recording this impromptu, just reading the script blind, he realizes he's talking about Pikachu, the Toips Pokemon. And he's like, oh, drat, I have to talk about that Pikachu. I hate that guy. And then imagine all the tea he would spill about Pikachu on the nature documentary. Do you see the vision?
Yeah, I do see the vision.
I see
That
it.
is
I
actually
see it.
genius.
He'd be like, there was this one time Pikachu stole all my rocks and then ate them. I was going to eat the rocks.
Now, I love the accuracy to the prompt, and I love the creativity that you have given us here with this prompt. So I'm going to award you up 2 points for that, bringing a total to 5. Is Pikachu an alpha?
No.
Oh, how unfortunate.
I really tried.
That is where your points will stand. I will not give you a point for originality because Pikachu is a tired rat.
I don't think Pikachu's the only tired rat in here, Robbie. I don't know. I think this
Dare
is
you.
a rigged competition.
What are you implying?
I wasn't implying anything at all. I was
You
just
better
saying.
watch yourself before I completely scrub your score from existence.
Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah?
god.
Now moving on to AbsolBlogs Pokemon, also known as Matt. Please showcase for
Well-
us in your lovely Solrock sweater, I'm living. Please showcase.
Thank you. Thank
love
you.
that
I had to
sweater.
nab it instantly. So I was thinking about the late, great Matty Blaustein and James Carter Cathcart and which Pokemon would be the most fun to hear Meowth say over and over again. I love watching the How It's Made documentaries outside the nature documentaries just because the narrator says robot as robot. And I think that Meowth would be excellent at saying Woilipede over and over again, watching it roll around at top speed across the savannah. I would just be mostly enraptured by it just saying Woilipede over and over again. And it would be cool just watching it roll around in the first place, but Meowth's voice would be the real star of the show, continuously talking about how Woilipede's running around at top speed. You know, that's the vision.
I do love that vision. Now, the creativity of that prompt surely wins you a point there. It is a very original prompt that I don't think I would have imagined. You know, when picturing a nature documentary, I don't typically think of bug Pokemon, so I love that there. And, you know, pretty accurate. It's a pretty accurate representation of how Meowth would speak if he was narrating that documentary. So, that is another point as well. Now, is this Whirlipede an alpha?
It is.
Just kidding. I already know the answer. That brings your total up to 7.5 points. Matt, you are in the lead.
Dang.
How does that make you feel?
I have to give credit where credit's due. Thinking about bug nature documentaries, once in college lecture, there was someone sitting in front of me who had 7 tabs of different bug fights, like right in front of him, and I paid attention to that instead of the lecture the whole time, just watching the Beatles battle against each other. It was
That's
truly
iconic.
the inspiration.
Understandable.
Was he like going through each tab?
Oh yeah,
Throughout
finishing the video, going to the next tab, not closing the previous one, just keeping them open probably for the next lecture or something.
That's
kinda just cycling
iconic.
through it.
One documentary per lecture. I mean, this guy's got a strategy.
All right, before we move on to our final prompt, let's look at our scores. In our very last place, unfortunately, is Kotatsu. She really was gunning for that shiny hunting in Wild Zone 3 strategy. It did not pay off.
Wait, were you using the stairs?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, maybe if I
Yes,
can't get a
you
shiny, I
What
can at
is-
least get like an alpha Pikachu and boost my score a little bit.
That's so good.
That's iconic. That'd be so fun.
Tied for second place, we have Arlie and Cecilily, both with 6 points. How does that make you both feel that someone in this cast is
I'm just honored to be tied. with-
Yes, I think we're just half a point behind, right? So it's almost a three-way tie. Or is it?
Not quite. Because our first place contestant is AbsolBlogsPokémon, also known as Matt, with 7.5 points, currently in the lead, just sprinting ahead in this marathon. Matt, what is your secret to success?
I think it was the motivation that Robbie half point trademark gave me to just like keep helping me push forward. Obviously, I'm not safe. I feel like, and it's still anyone's game. So I got to stay on the top of my game here and just keep thinking about that half point as we go into this final round.
Absolutely. And in going into that final round, I think I'm going to make things a little more spicy for everyone.
Oh.
And
gosh.
every point will be doubled
Oh.
for this final prompt.
Gasp.
Oh my goodness.
I would like you to find a species of Pokemon that would best convince a person who is unfamiliar with Pokemon that it's a legendary or mythical instead of a Mega Evolution.
Oh.
Ooh.
Now, for this prompt specifically, to be clear, we want you to use Mega Evolution for the final round, the ZA Battle Club. But that Pokemon has to be the most easily convincing as a legendary or mythical Pokemon for someone who knows nothing about Pokemon. And your time starts in 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go!
I'm opening my Pokédex right now.
Same.
Most easily convince it's a legendary or a mythical. I have actually pretty good experience in this because if you guys didn't know, I work in a Pokemon card shop, hobby shop really. And so we get a lot of parents specifically that know nothing about Pokemon, and they always pick the most random ones that they think are cool, that their kids might like. So I might have a bit of an edge.
What is the most random a parent has ever asked
Oh
for?
gosh. Well, they haven't asked for anything by name. They like see the card.
Can I have that red Pikachu over there?
They're like, what is this one? Charizard? And it's like Aerodactyl.
Adef's sister was over recently, and he has an Aggron plush on our bookshelf. And his sister was like, "Oh my god, Bulbasaur!" And it was just the funniest thing.
Are you serious?
It was so funny, y'all. Oh, it was cracking me up.
That's crazy. All right, Ceci, where is your mind right now?
I already know what I want to catch. I'm just trying to make up a story as I'm running through rooftops. And okay, that's the one I was going for actually. Yep.
Oh my gosh, I'm lost.
I am too.
I'm 700 away. I have to sprint for this one.
Yeah, I'm 400 away. Fuck.
Robbie, do you mind giving the prompt one more time? I'm so sorry. I know you have just finished giving it to us.
A species that would best convince a person unfamiliar with Pokemon that it is a legendary or mythical Pokemon.
Okay.
But it has
Thank
to be a
you.
Mega Evolution.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I can't
And it
jump
would-
over a simple ledge. I'm gonna rage quit.
Oh no.
Kind of going rogue on my own plan, but
Rogue Mega Kotatsu?
What?
yeah, pretty much. I know, unprecedented. I do something stupid in this economy?
Kotatsu would never do anything stupid.
No, never. Especially not on camera. What?
I still see so many people mix up the words Rouge and Rogue.
I do
Oh,
it on
same.
purpose.
I love it.
It makes me laugh.
It's one of my favorite mix-ups of all time.
It's kind of like how Wolfie loves pronouncing Pokemon names incorrectly on
Decadewey.
Yes.
I will never
That
forget.
could do so good.
Actually, both Samurott and Dekidewey have extremely similar stats.
It changed me chemically inside me. Decadewey.
Oh, shiny!
What? Oh! Whoa!
Full odds. Random
serious?
shiny.
And was it your target?
It's not, but it could work as one.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
it's so over.
Yeah. Okay, am I allowed to evolve a Pokemon if I get it pre-evolved?
You can do whatever you want as long as you caught it.
It's Jover, y'all.
God.
It's
Oh
Jover.
gosh, okay. How much time do we have left?
3 minutes and 40 seconds. So before this shiny moment, we were talking about Wolfie mispronouncing Pokemon names. And I remember that a video of his came up on TikTok, and I stitched it by pronouncing it was Quaquaval, but the correct pronunciation is Quaquaval because it's Quack, Aqua, and Carnaval. And that's what I explained it in the video. And then I had a whole bunch of people commenting, like, Wolfie does that on purpose. Wolfie does, because obviously there's the whole everyone in my comments just telling me the same thing, and it's like, okay, we got it. We have learned that I have never watched a Wolfie BGC video in my life.
For me, it was funny because we don't know how to pronounce Unj in this game yet. Like the tower thing, it's only written in text. We don't know how to say if we're supposed to say it in French or in English or in what. And there were people correcting my pronunciation in the last video. I'm like, guys, you don't know. I don't know. How?
Exactly. And sometimes the official Pokemon pronunciations just feel wrong. Yeah. Like Ferrothorn instead of Ferrothorn.
Is it what?
Oh yeah, Miss Maggie.
There's no way that's real. Ferrothorn.
That's actually what they gotta say. Like if you watch
It's
old
crazy.
PGC tournaments, the casters are like Ferrothorn. And it's so weird.
I would like to assume that it is pronounced in French, like Ange.
Oh no, I said Angie. I'm gonna sound stupid in my video.
We love Angie.
I did that with a lot of names. I was pronouncing them different every 20 minutes.
I think the worst examples of that for me are like Laban and Jacinth or Hyacinth.
Same.
Just
I don't even know.
Just songs
I said-
like croissant.
Oh,
is
it's
what
probably
I
just
heard.
Just
songs.
songs.
Now that you're talking about
Thank
it.
you.
That's a fun way
30
to-
seconds.
I was just saying.
30 seconds?
5, 4, 3, 2,
So-
1. Your time is over. Put your controllers. Players, for our final prompt, I asked you to come up with a Pokemon that would easily convince someone who isn't familiar with Pokemon that it is a legendary or mythical Pokemon. And I asked you to come up with specifically a Mega Evolution, because we will be using that for the ZA Battle Club in a 4-way battle that will determine who is the absolute best Lumiose Pokemon catcher. Now, I want to start with Matt, because everyone is dying to know what is the shiny Pokemon that you caught for us?
Well, I have this legendary right here. It's known as Kyurem Tree, and I could show you what Kyurem looks like. It's this ice-type legendary, this dragon, that fuses with other dragons and stuff. And when we look at the Mega Evolution right here, as you can see, it has like these same big legendary things on its back that Kyurem has. And this is just definitely a legendary. You find this in the Unova region, and it is like the spirit of the north wind, Arctic trees, perhaps even Christmas trees.
I'm trying so hard to picture what Pokemon this is.
Really powerful legendary right here. Kyurem Tree. And definitely not Mega Abomasnow.
Oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, I was watching. I was so curious. I had to know.
And like the sticks do look like
Oh!
Kyurem actually. This is
Obama.
crazy.
Kyurem Tree is correct.
And it's tree as a tree.
It fused
Now-
with the tree.
Now, I love this storyline of... Oh, and just right on cue, Abomasnow, thank you so much for showcasing this lovely...
I'm gonna bow down. Thank you, Abomasnow.
For this lovely Mega Evolution moment. Now, Matt, I will say that a little disappointing that the person that you're trying to convince has to kind of know that Kyurem exists in the first place.
That's true. Like I'd have to like pull up like pictures on the phone or something. So it's
Yeah.
not the most convincing argument if it's just in a vacuum with just the Mega.
Absolutely. So, though some points might need to be deducted on that front, but I will reserve the final points until the very end before we go into the Battle Club to make it, you know, a surprise moment at the end. And I want to move on to your biggest competition, Kotatsu,
As if. Okay. All right.
who has brought for us...
Okay, well, I caught this beautiful, large, very yellow Pokemon today because I was racking my brain, my customer service brain, thinking about what Pokemon might impress a parent or a grandparent who doesn't know anything about what to get their kids for Christmas. So I figured that this beautiful Mewtwo with flowing locks and glowing, radiating with power, looks impressive. Just simply by looking at it. It looks powerful, so you gotta give it some credit there. It's strong. It probably has at least 300 HP on its Pokemon card. It just, look at those orbs on it. It looks kind of tasty actually, but it looks strong, okay? So it looks like it would be meaningful to catch and find in the game. So I figured anyone, regardless of their history with Pokemon, if they didn't know about it, they would think it would look cool. Because I think it looks cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you said you named this Mega Ampharos Mewtwo.
Yes, to channel its legendary energy.
Yeah, I think it would be a very hard Pokemon to convince. If if the parent is coming by themselves, then maybe. But if the child is with them, they're probably gonna know what Mewtwo is, because Mewtwo is probably the most iconic legendary Pokemon in all of the Pokemon franchise. I mean, that's why
hear me
it
out,
has.
Robbie. If the child knows about Mewtwo, then they know about Pokemon, and they are not the target audience of this prompt. The target audience would just be the parent.
You really got me there so much. That spoke to me. I love when someone rules lawyers, the host, and tells them, this is why you're wrong. And I love to be proven wrong. And
I'm not
I might
afraid to
give
speak
you,
my mind.
Absolutely. And I think I might give you an additional point for that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Moving on to PartyArlie. What have you showcased for us today?
I tried to catch probably 7 different things, and every time I fainted them and threw a ball, it broke out. So here we are with truly 30 seconds on the clock. My choice. This is an Altaria who was a Swablu. The Altaria broke out, and I had to catch the Swablu and evolve it instead. This is my Mega Altaria named Legendary. I think that whenever, adults who maybe aren't very familiar with Pokemon, when they see a dragon type, they just assume, oh, that's got to be special. That's got to be important, They see Charizard, oh, that's a legendary Pokemon. They see Dragonite, oh, that's a legendary Pokemon. And so I think the same thing could happen with a Mega Altaria here, especially because its name is legendary. I really feel like that would fool the adults. I really think they'd be like, oh, okay, then that's gotta be legendary. And also, the fairy typing as well, the only dragon fairy typing, I think got going for it. Makes it very legendary, even though it's not.
Absolutely. And you know what I really love about that is that the typical parents will think, oh yes, dragon, or it's a fairy and it flies. And legendary things, they have supernatural power, they fly.
Exactly. The fairy typing as well helps that too.
Yeah, I really love where your mind went with this prompt. I'm very convinced.
I'm glad to hear that, because this was very last second. Nothing caught the
people
ball.
don't need to know that. Cut that out. Cut the camera.
They don't need to know. They don't need to know.
All right, and moving on to our final contestant, Cecilily, if you please.
Okay, Robbie, so you, as a person who knows that Pokemon is a thing, but not much more, you'd be interested to know that each Pokemon game is set in a different Pokemon region, and these regions are oftentimes inspired by a real-world location. So we have Galar, that is inspired by the UK, we have Paldea, which is inspired by Spain, and we have Tijuana, which is inspired by Mexico, and this is its box art legendary, Ricochet de Mega Rollucha. So this is a legendary pompous bird, is wearing an armor, so that's why it's a legendary one. And if you doubt me, you can open a Pokemon YouTube's channel right now and you'll see they made an entire Lucha Libre special only to talk about this legendary Pokemon, which is Mega Hawlucha. Yeah, it's a very cool box art legendary for the Mexico-inspired region of Tijuana.
I really love to hear that, and I am so distracted by everything that's happening in Matt's screen right now because
sorry, I was getting attacked.
You are telling me that Pokemon came out with an entirely new region based on Mexico.
Yes, and
that would eat.
Yes.
And right on cue, Hawlucha telling us, thank you so much. And that really speaks to me as well. I'm not Mexican and Puerto Rican, but I always yearn for Latin American representation. So I really love this prompt and everything. It spoke to me.
Thank you so much, Robbie.
Thank you so much. Of course. Wouldn't you all love to know who is the winner of this battle challenge? Well, what if we went to the ZA Battle Club and find out? before we hand out these points.
It's on.
It's time. I love that Matt's in-game name is Matt Absol.
Been rocking that ever since X and Y. Whenever they like increase the character limit.
I have the Fujoshi team. They're all girls. We have Fujo power on our side.
It's my first time doing this with friends. This will be fun.
Sam, I'm excited.
Same.
The ZA Battle Club.
Oh my god, there's
I love everyone's
Miho!
profile pictures.
Such a cool photo.
Cute.
Miho wanted to take a picture with a legendary Pokemon.
Oh god.
Oh my god, my Malamar moveset is horrible.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, not the earthquake. Get me out
Wait,
of
I can
there,
only switch a
Mawile.
certain amount of times?
Yeah,
Per,
it's
per
really
death.
scary.
Wait, area waste, let's go. Oh, that time of the detect. Let's go.
And we see
Everyone-
Matt picking up the first knockout of the game. What an exciting
y'all are so
match
far
as
away.
everyone is clumping up in the same corner.
Yeah.
And we see Kotatsu picking up the first place with 2
Get the
back-to-back
hell away
knockouts.
from me.
It's because of the
No, come
legendary
back here.
Mewtwo.
Absolutely,
Mewtwo.
yes.
Yeah, I'm OP with my legendary.
Charge.
Ooh, and
power,
Arlie
let's go.
using that immunity
Earthquake,
frame
no!
to dodge the wild charge.
Oh my god, Ampros, get out of there.
No.
My character is gonna die before I die.
What is happening?
It's time for Lucha.
Lucha, 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 lucha.
Oh, I remember
on the
that
board.
show.
You are on the board with 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. It is a pretty evenly matched game.
I'm sorry, boss baby. I'm so sorry.
No.
I think it's time that I break out the Woilapede.
No!
This is the nature documentary that where we really see all the action happen.
Can somebody do a meow?
Pikachu! What is this? I just picked up an arrow. Oh, dang, this is cool.
Get the close combat away from me.
Oh, that is doing
get you,
nothing
Matt.
to you.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, my Mawile's
Woilapede,
down.
come on, step it up a little bit. Now I see why this thing is
No,
bold
my
nature.
legendary
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, my Holucha's starting to pick up KOs like right now, and I think I'm tied with Matt.
Oh, I am. I'm getting cooked down here
Ooh.
anymore.
Matt coming in with another knockout, coming into first
Ooh.
place.
Alright, it's time to
15
show what a
seconds
former
remaining.
go-go taxi service can do. We've made a lot of money off of this, so
Wait, there's
this
a grass
is what
type
that
there.
money's
Let me
been
use
going
flamethrower.
towards.
I don't know,
10
I don't know,
seconds.
run!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we
The
see
last minute.
the last couple seconds.
I got
matter
cooked.
Scary.
for Kotatsu.
That was
Yeah, I think
fun.
I got knocked out right at the end.
Oh man, I
tie.
tied!
Dang, that's
They
crazy.
really
That's
are,
so
aren't they?
amazing.
Yes, for the drama.
All right, the ZA Battle Club match has decided that Matt and Kotatsu are the winners of this little match.
Whoa!
Bringing their point total to an additional point each. And everyone will be surprised to know that this was an incredibly close call. Taking all of the points from the catching contest into consideration, plus an additional point for winning the ZA Battle Club. Here are our point standings. Falling from grace in very last place is Matt with 11.5 points.
Happened? Whoa!
What?
Oh
Are
my
you serious?
goodness. That's crazy.
The deductions.
Last
Wow.
place?
The whole world's revolving around this right now. This is insane. Like,
So you may remember that there was double the points for the prompts.
right.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I probably forgot about that.
The
So-
drama.
I wasn't so incredibly convinced that it was accurate to the prompt because you would need previous Pokemon knowledge to know that Kyurem or maybe pull up.
Right. It was a weak argument.
Yeah, it was a weaker argument, absolutely. Even with the additional point of winning the ZA Battle Royale, unfortunately, it did not bring you the success that you had throughout this entire episode. Matt, how does that make you feel?
Well, I let the half point get to me, honestly. Like, just as I said earlier, I went into that last round a little bit too confident. I had a plan in mind with Frostlass, but I got Abomasnow instead, and I was like, oh yeah, with this shiny point, I don't even need a prompt. And what I came up with last second had logical fallacies everywhere.
Now, Kotatsu, I gave you 2 points for originality and creativity as well, but I wasn't super convinced about your argument. But I did give you an additional point for standing up to me.
Yes.
And then the additional point for Ampharos being an alpha, plus the additional point for winning the ZA Battle Club. Cecilily and Arlie, I gave both of you full points across the board for both of your prompts. But you did not win the ZA Battle Club.
Not even close.
I think we're tied, right?
Oh, we might be tied this whole round. Yeah, this whole thing.
Yeah, so
It's kind of iconic of us.
with all of those points being distributed, the winner, or should I say, the winners of the Lumiose City catching contest. It's a 3-way tie between Arlie, Cecilily, and Kotatsu with 12 points each.
is
Congratulations.
Oh, that is so funny.
Thank you
That's
so
the
much.
most not
A
ending
win
of
for
all
the gays.
time.
The patriarchy has been defeated
That is-
today.
That is crazy.
How does that make you feel, Cecilily, as the hostess of this channel, having defeated the host and winning?
How many points over Matt did we do?
0.5.
Oh my god.
Dang, the 0.5!
It
I
all
would-
comes back to the 0.5.
I would say this is perfect casting. We are equally as good at catching Pokemon. And this is kind of crazy.
Absolutely. Except for Matt.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Kotatsu, how are you feeling? I know that Miho is celebrating with you. He is so happy.
Yes, we are feeling great. You know, as I said earlier, winners love winning. So I'm feeling on top of the world right now.
I love producing game shows.
Well, I might have said some things earlier that might have been a little incendiary to you, Robbie, but, this was super fun and no hard feelings, man. It was all for the game.
Yeah, sure. You will be hearing from my lawyer. Arlie, how are you feeling with this victory?
I'm feeling pretty good. This was very unexpected, and I'm just happy my Australian Meowth wasn't 100%, for nothing.
And I think that today's game show has proven to us that everybody can succeed, except Matt, at catching Pokemon in Lumiose City.
This contest was super fun to organize, and I hope you had as much fun watching as we had playing it. I would like to thank again PartyArlie, Kotatsu and Unova, AbsolBlogsPokémon, also known as Matt, and Roberto Montoya de la Rosa Ramirez, or just Robbie for short, for helping me put all of this together. It was super fun, and it's always a pleasure having you over in this little channel. If any of these creators are new to you, don't forget to check their content and subscribe down here below. And of course, over here too, don't forget to do your usual YouTube stuff, like and subscribe to help me sail the deep and treacherous waters of the YouTube algorithm. It's the first time that I do anything collaborative here on this little channel, and like this collaboration feature that YouTube now has is super cool, and I'm still experimenting with it a bit. So if you really like this and you would like to see a second edition of the Lumiose City catching contest, comment here below which other creators you would like to see competing across the streets and alleyways and rooftops of Lumiose. And also, yes, if it is your first time on this channel, maybe go check some other videos that I did. Over here, I'm going to link my Legends ZA deep dive, where I go deep into the political background of Lumiose City and explore the moral grayness of this complicated and colorful cast of characters who live there. Also over here, I'm going to link my Pokemon X Hardcore Nuzlocke that I did only using cutesy girly pop Pokemon. I hope to see you back on this channel super soon.